And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. I read in Jung years ago this idea that I found extraordinarily compelling and useful, which was that every ideal is simultaneously and necessarily a judge. Imagine that the ideal is something that beckons to you, but you also pale in comparison to the ideal. And by apprehending an ideal, you're also simultaneously judged. And the higher the ideal, the more intense the judgment in some real sense. I think that's partly why people are terrified of great art, like Michelangelo's David. I read a great commentary on that. The commentator suggested that the statue calls upon you to be far more than you are. There's that judgment. And I think part of what happens to Moses here is that he's afraid to look upon God, the God of Abraham that calls people to adventure, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, God that calls people to adventure and sacrifice and then out of slavery as well, is that ideal that's ultimately terrifying in some real sense. And so Moses hides his face, for he was afraid to look upon God.
Their negotiation is interesting to me, because God sort of comes forth here and lists his bona fides, right? Because he says, I'm your God, I'm the God of your people. Mm-hmm. And so it's very interesting, the back and forth between him and Moses. So, you know, he's almost proving the case that he's the God to be set before other gods, mm-hmm, by identifying him as the God of his people.
And certainly the God to be set before other gods by Moses, given his cultural heritage.